So that
Even if we're gonna get in, oh, yeah.
it's true.
Fine. Okay. I hope that it's working for everybody. Good morning, and I want to thank everybody who helped to get this to computer. I hope that's going to be good for everybody. And the question was if bracha shechianu atova metiv. The Gemara says if other people also benefit, so then you say atova metiv. So I hope everybody will be benefiting from this. So I'll say bracha to thank Hashem for the.
Tova metiv. Yeah, right. It's for everybody.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam atova metiv.
Amen.
And there should be a lot of Torah and happiness. So on the Kibbutz Hashem, that's what the purpose of everything is. From the line of I think that family base, is that true? I'm a rubber. Five line. Is that true?
No.
Is that not true? Rubber on the base. What the bottom line?
Bottom of the
base.
Right. Bottom line. Rubber on the base. I'm a rubber. Okay. I'm a rubber. Very fascinating Gemara today. I would have hoped to have more time to prepare, but something superficial. I'm a rubber.
Not Amar Rav Huna.
I'm a rubber. Bottom line.
Rav, last line.
Last line.
Okay.
Tein Mana Laploni. Look.
Tein
Mana Laploni. So we know that usually, right, that you have to have a pruta. Here's a fancy case that the woman would like somebody else to get the money. So she says, if you give somebody Plony money, I'll be married with that. With the fact that you give him give it to him. Give money to him, and I'll be married to you. The point is that the woman is not getting the money. It's not good enough. Give money to Plony. It means, of course, you have to have the man as the one who's acting, the one who's giving. But she agrees to this, that if somebody else gets the money, she'll be married to him.
You mean he would say, Harayat Nikudeshis
The Pruta that I'm giving to Plony.
That I'm giving to Plony.
And she's happy with that. So it works. Nikudeshis.
Okay.
That's case number one. The Gemara is going to prove it. How do you? That's a chiddush that she's not getting anything. We can know that not from the din of a cosigner. What's there's a different word than a cosigner. The guarantor.
Mm-hmm.
What happens? The guarantor becomes mechayiv to pay. What makes him mechayiv to pay? Because he said, you give money, you Malva give money to the Lova, and I'm gonna have to pay. He didn't get anything. The Lova usually he gets something, and then he becomes obligated because of his benefit that he got. But the Orev, the guarantor, didn't get anything, and still he can become obligated to pay. What obligates him? The Gemara understands that he only can become obligated if he got something. The same way that a woman, she gets married by getting the benefit of the pruta. But here, the Orev didn't get anything. As the Gemara explains, top line, Orev, an Orev, a guarantor, even though he didn't get any benefit, he didn't get the loan. The Loba got the loan. But say, even though he didn't get any benefit, but still he obligated himself. He becomes Meshubin. He becomes obligated to pay because the Loba got the money. So this woman also, even though she didn't get the benefit, she gave herself because somebody else got the benefit, and she gives herself over for Kiddushin because of the benefit that somebody else got. That's the first point of the Gemara. That's called Orev. The famous din here that the Gemara learns out that since an Orev could become obligated even though he didn't get the money, so to a woman if they become married even though she didn't get the money, as long as she agrees to it. That's good. Usually the person has to give the money. Here's the case where somebody else is going to give the money to the woman. Here it starts. Somebody else, not the chassan. Somebody else, woman, money, a shavar fruta, or even a man, okay, $100, and become married, not to me, to him, to the chassan. Somebody else is paying instead of the chassan. The first case was that someone else is getting the money besides the kala, but she agrees to it. And the second halacha is that somebody else could give the money even though it's not the chassan. The chassan, someone else is giving the money for the chassan. Of course, if he gives money to the chassan, it's the chassan's money. That's of course is okay. But that's not the case. The case is someone else gave the money to the Kala in order that she should be
It'd be
married.
very simple. The father,
Anybody-
the chassan is a little not responsible. The father said, "I'll give the ring to the kala, and I want it to be the."
Not a shlichus, he's not being a shliach. If he's a shliach, so then he's a shliach. The chassan is doing it. There's not a shliach over here. Someone else is giving their own money.
Well,
Someone else is giving
here, it says Hela.
somebody, Plony. Plony says,
Versus-
a third person says to the woman,
Go.
take
Hela
this,
means,
take.
You heard this?
Here it is. Here is a mana, and become married to Plony the chassan. So the chassan is not giving the money,
because she became.
and become married to somebody to
He's
the chassan.
giving her the
Who's he? Plony.
the one that said Hela.
Right. He's giving money, and he says, become married to the chassan because of the money that I'm giving you. So it works also. It also works. That's a chiddush because the chassan didn't give them money. Somebody else gave them money. Why does it work? What's the rhyme? Midin Evet Kanani. We can learn it out from Midin Evet Kanani. Evet Kanani, when he gets redeemed, someone wants to redeem Evet Kanani. So he's not buying him. He's redeeming him. So he pays money to the owner, somebody, an outsider. He pays money to the owner and he says, with this money, I want Evet Kanani to become free. So the Evet Kanani, who's the one who's getting out of all this, he's getting free. He didn't give any money. Someone else gave money. And by somebody else giving money, the Evet Kanani becomes free. The is going to be the chassan is like the Evet Kanani. He's getting a wife. He didn't pay for it. Someone else paid for it. The same way somebody else could pay for the Evet Kanani's freedom. Somebody else could pay for the chassan's marriage. And the Gemara explains, Evet Kanani la afagav de lo kachasev lo midi kekani nafshe. Evet Kanani, even though he didn't lose anything, he didn't give them money. Somebody else gave them money of redemption. But he acquires himself midi kekani le hayat. Even though he didn't lose anything, he didn't pay the money. He could acquire the woman. So the first halacha was that the kala doesn't have to get the money. If she agrees that somebody else should get the money, she becomes married because she's happy that somebody else got the money. And the second halacha is that the chassan doesn't have to give the money. Somebody else could give the money, and she's happy with. She agrees to that. That someone else gives the money, and she becomes married to the chassan. Good so far. Fascinating chasana.
She. What are you gaining?
Was happy that somebody else should get
Her
the
mother.
money.
She gave a good example. Her mother. She wants her mother to.
But not to make it so limited. She was happy that somebody else is getting the money.
Who was somebody in this case?
Doesn't make a difference.
Oh.
Mother, sister, friend.
I know that the money is going to a place that she wants it to go to.
Right. And that was the first Gemara that already becomes obligated even though he didn't get the money. So too, the woman becomes given over even though she didn't get the money. Second halacha, the chassan could acquire the woman even though he didn't give any money. The same way that Evet Kanani becomes redeemed even though he didn't give any money. Fascinating.
That's the case that she has a hanor. That she's giving him. That's not that case. We haven't got him.
Third case. Lonely, the kadesh ani lo. The woman says, give money to the chassan. He tells somebody else, give money to the chassan, and I'll be no. The same way she could say, give money to somebody. Right. The somebody she picked happens to be the chassan. She tells somebody, give money to the chassan, and I'll be married to him. So the chassan got money, and that's how he marries the woman. Usually he has to give money. Here he's getting money. The Gemara could have said,
what was he going to say?
What?
What will he say?
הרי את מקודשת לי, בכסף שלו, שפלוני נתן לי. And she's happy about that. She's happy that he's getting money. So really, they want to skip the little step. It could have said that the chassan have nothing to do with it. Once we have the two dinim, the chassan doesn't have to receive the money. The chassan doesn't have to give the money. So it could be that there's Reuven and Shimon over there. The chassan they're doing their own thing, and they don't. He doesn't give money to her. He doesn't give the ring to her. But Reuven gives the money to Shimon, and they become married because she said, "I'm happy that he should get money," and it doesn't have to be the chassan who gives the money. So the Gemara could have said that case also. The Gemara goes even further. Even though the chassan is one who's getting the money, even though the chassan is one who's getting the money, that's okay. The same way it can be a combination of these two halachas. that good? The first halacha was that the kala doesn't have to receive the money as long as she wants somebody else to receive it. Second halacha is the chassan doesn't have to give the money; somebody else gave it for him. And the third halacha is both of them together. That somebody can give money to somebody. The Gemara makes it even more extreme. That money can be given to the chassan. Somebody gives money to the chassan, and she becomes married to him because of that. It's a combination of both of the halachas together.
This would become good for a shlichus thing.
No, I don't want shlichus. No shlichus. Shlichus is something else. Shlichus means you're a shliach for me. I'm the chassan is the one who's marrying, and he tells somebody be a shliach for me and give this money to her. But this is something
How
else.
can it work if there's no kala and no chassan involved at all?
They're agreeing. They're agreeing. No, the chassan says
It's not called
no. The chassan says no. The chassan is telling the kala, "Aviat mukudeshesli," with the money that Reuben's going to give Shimon, or with the money that Reuben's going to give me. There's no shliach over here.
I'm in Los Angeles and she's in New York. And we both agree that there are two people in Belgium.
I'm not sure why you have to take them separate. The chassan and kala can be together, but he's not giving her anything. Usually, the issue of the Gemara is that usually the chassan has to give the kala, the shava pruta. That's how it works. The chiddush is that he's not giving the money and she's not receiving the money. But he tells her, "Vet mukudeshesli, be tabasu, tabas, not that I'm giving you, that he's giving him,
With the tabas that he's giving.
or even more extreme, that he's giving me."
Mhm.
And she's happy with that, so she gets married.
Okay.
And he didn't give money; he got money. And the Gemara goes through the two steps that we just said. It's a combination of the first two steps. And the Gemara speaks it out. 10 money Ploni Kaddish and Lo. Give money to Ploni, the chassan, and I will become married to him. With Kudeshas, Midin Shneim, with the combination of both halachas that we brought before. Arev was a proof that she doesn't have to get the money. Ebekani was the halacha that he doesn't have to give the money. And the Gemara speaks it out at length. Arev, we'll start one at a time. Arev, he becomes obligated even though he didn't get anything. It's Mamish review of what I said before on the top of the page. He becomes obligated even though he didn't get any benefit. So too the woman. Word for word from before, copy and paste, that the woman can become married even though she didn't get anything.
That's just the aura, isn't it?
That's only the Aura so far, right?
Yeah.
Now the Gemara says, but it's not exactly the same. The Aura would be dummy. Why is it's not enough to case it already? Aura. At least the one who was receiving the sheep with the malva, he gave something. The malva gave money. The malva gave money to the loba, and so at least he's giving something in order to get something. But over here, the chassan is not giving anything, and he's getting a wife. The chassan is getting the wife, and he's not paying it. So for that, the answer is Eved Kanani. It means the Gemara takes one step at a time. It's simple. The Gemara said it. She doesn't have to get, he doesn't have to give. But the Gemara says to go step by a time. That you see that she doesn't have to get, fine. But the Gemara says, but he's not giving, he's not losing anything. And by Orev, that the Malva gives the loba money and the Orev becomes obligated, at least the Malva gave for the arvus that's coming to him. So hey, because the chassan is not losing anything. Because every Kanani gets 15, even though he didn't lose anything. The local chassan he doesn't have to pay any money, and he becomes freed. But the Gemara says, yeah, but now the Gemara goes back and forth.
Yeah.
But here, but every Kanani, at least the owner who's losing the Eved, he got money for it. Hasam Hastika Makni Kakani, the one who's giving the Eved away, he's freeing him, he got money. But over here, the woman's not getting anything, and she's becoming obligated. She's giving herself away for marriage, and she didn't get anything. That's the answer. So that's fine. Each one takes care of one problem.
What's the Arab again?
When that's the first line of the Gemara, that a guarantor becomes obligated even though he didn't get anything. The Arev tells give money to the loba, and I'm obligated. Right. Usually a malva gives to the loba becomes obligated. He lost and he gained, and then he obligates himself. But the Arev becomes obligated even though he didn't get anything because he's happy the loba should get a loan. So too, the woman can say, I'm going to become married.
All these loans, that's for
But okay, let's leave it. The point that a guarantor becomes obligated, right? That even though he didn't get anything.
Yes.
So too, the woman can become married. married, even though she didn't get anything. And the question is that the husband usually has to give something. You see by Eved Kanani that the Eved Kanani becomes redeemed though he didn't give anything. So too the husband could get his wife even though he didn't give anything. Yeah, what? Then this is the explanation of Arib. Even though the Arib didn't get any benefit, to obligate himself. So period. Yeah, both of them. Somebody else should get the money. The husband doesn't have to give the money. If somebody else agrees to give the money, somebody else could even give the husband money. Or you could have started a stage in between that Reuven could give money to Shimon, and the chassan requires the kala. That could have been together. The Gemara is one even more extreme. That the chassan could be the one who gets the money. If she's happy, the chassan should get the money. So somebody gives money to the chassan, and she becomes married to him. The next Gemara, l'chor should be a continuation.
This is so far we have Rava has given 2 cases.
3 cases. 1, 2, and a combination of
1,
both of them
2,
together.
and a combination.
Of both
3
of them
cases,
together.
and now he's going to ask.
Now he's going to ask a question.
Well,
By boy Rava. I would just suggest that there's I'm going to say something that the Gemara is not going to say. What if the Kala gives money to the chassan?
That's our famous case that we've been.
Yeah, but I don't want to get there. Yeah, but I don't want to get there yet. You're ahead of us. No, I don't want to stay there either.
But it seems to be it's a little schmeck of it over here.
But don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. You're going someplace else. You're going to go where the Gemara is going. I don't want to go there. So far we had that the Kala doesn't have to give the money. Somebody else could give them. Can get. Doesn't have to get the money. Someone else can get the money.
And the husband doesn't have to give
Doesn't have to give the money. Someone else can give
neither
it.
of them have to receive.
What?
And neither of them.
She doesn't have to receive. He could receive it even.
You
But
can't.
he
He could receive it.
Yeah.
Now, could she be the one who's giving it?
You said she could give it to somebody else.
We said somebody else could give it to him. Somebody else be the woman herself. Could somebody else be the one to give it? Could she be the somebody else to give?
Give to him.
To give to him.
Why not?
And the combination of the two lachas we said so far, she doesn't have to be the one to receive. He doesn't have to be the one to give.
Who said that?
So the Gemara, right? So the Gemara asked the question. I would have thought that's what I was going to answer. It's based on the same 2 halachas that we had before.
Right.
You have Orv and Eved Kanani. So somebody else could be the recipient. Somebody else could be the giver, and happens to be they switched. He's the recipient, and she's the giver. Why not?
Why do-
So I don't know the answer. Why the Gemara asked the question? Boy, Rava, I think this was really to be the Pashup shot also when the Gemara said, Rava says, this is good, this is good, this is good, and this is a question. So I thought it's based on the case before. Hey, lach manari kadesh ani lach. What if the woman says, I'll give you money and I'll be married to you with that? Which means the Chorah based on what the Gemara said till now, that
No middleman.
no middleman, right? Instead of Ploni, it's going to be me. Instead of Ploni, it'll be you. So I would have thought that's what the Gemara is going to say. But the Gemara doesn't say it. The Gemara doesn't say that it works because of the combination of Arab and Eved Kanani. So I don't know why. Left that as a question, I don't know. But the Gemara continues that it's going to be good.
Isn't it one of the cases that we say it's not a marriage when she says I'll be married to you?
No, it's Handav is asking a question. That's a side point. That if she's the one who's talking.
No.
So
This
we
is
said
about
that this is only the talk before for the agreement. But of course, at the end, he has to say, "I read to Kadesh Asli with the money that you're going to give me."
How's this working?
I'll say it again. That this is talking about the agreement. That if she doesn't want to give somebody the money, so then of course he can't marry her with the money that he's give somebody else. She agrees with it. All this Gemara is talking about the agreement. She agrees with the money that someone's going to give somebody. Someone's going to give me. You're going to give me. So that you have to put on the side. Of course, talking about that they'll show us what the right is. But the question is it good? It's not the money that she's giving him money, and that's how she'll be married to him, by her giving him money. So the Gemara should have said that it works because of the thing of Orban Eved Kanani. But the Gemara doesn't say that. I don't know why. If anybody can help me with that, I don't know why the Gemara doesn't say it's good because of that reason. But the Gemara does say that it's good. It also works. It's good. She could give him the Ariat Bukadeshasli with the money that you're going to give me, and she gives him money, and she's married.
Because
I would have assumed so, but the Gemara is going to say not like that. So I put it on the right side. I wrote on the side of my Gemara. I don't understand why the Gemara doesn't say what we said. But what does the Gemara say? So first, the Gemara didn't understand what's happening. Why should it be good? And the Gemara comes into Kinyan Agav, which is almost like way out. Kinyan Agav is halacha that when you a makne land, real estate. Reuven sells to Shimon or gives the present to Shimon land. Agav that means on top of that, it could also come along the Taltal. Right. And here the Gemara is saying this is not Agav. If you'd say Isha Niknes the Akin Agav, and the woman would have given, how does it go? Who would have given to who?
The Agav is the marriage.
Right, the woman. The woman is going to be the Agav.
Agav.
That she's going to be
One
married
is gonna
Agav.
be the kin.
The money, right? And the Gemara is going to ask that the reason why is unhappy is because a woman is and the money is not karka. How does Kinyan Agav work? That if the karka is transferred, so then Agav that the Metalton also could be transferred. So if that would, the Gemara sounds like that would have been good. The Rishonim say that also wouldn't have been good. A woman's not nikneh Agav at all. Shlosh Drachim, Isha niknes b'shalosh drachim. But the Gemara goes even the Rav Chadim Milsa just to make it large that it's not even called Agav because she's not Metalton and the kesef is not karka. But how does the Gemara ask it?
Before you go into the question, a side question: wouldn't an Evid also, because he's partly like karka?
The Gemara talks about that. The Gemara talks about
he couldn't be Agavi.
The Gemara talks about it that maybe he could.
Then maybe he could.
That's called maybe has to be kafos. This Gemara Baba Kama talks about it. Is it possible to do Kinyan Agav with an Evid? But here the Gemara says, Amler Vashi Lamazutra. How could it be good? Can't have a lay nechasim sheish lamachrayis. Nikne lamachrayis. The way you're making the marriage work is because you're considering the woman nikne agav the kesef. What does it mean? The Gemara looks at it as she's giving him money.
He's making a kinyan on the money.
On the money, and agav that he also gets the woman also. Like the Gemara didn't even dream what we're talking about. Every Kanani and Nor. The Gemara is just saying what's happening. She's giving him money, and agav that she's also getting herself. That the husband is kona the money, and agav that he also gets the woman. That's if anything in agav, even in the agav terminology, it wouldn't work because she is karka. She's considered a woman, a person is considered karka halachically, and the money is money, and you can't give karka agav the money. You have to give the money agav the karka. Here, the kinyan is being made on the money, and agav that he's getting the karka. That doesn't work. In Cain, if you say it like that, it's considered machrayis, which means real estate karka, is being nikna agav the chasim shein machrayis metaltalim, and that doesn't work. You can't be making kinyan of karka agav metaltalim. That's to be metaltalim agav karka. But not ifchatna. We have opposite Mishnah. If anything, the agav works the other way. Nechasim shein machrayis nechasim sheish machrayis because of shtar v'chazaka. When you make a kinyan on karka, whatever the kinyan of karka is, kesef shtar chazaka, we'll get in Baba Basra one day. But then you could also be karka kona agav the karka. You could be kona metaltalim. But this is unheard of that a woman should be nikna agav kesef. So the Rishonim say that this is really way out. There's no such thing as agav at all by Kiddushin. But if anything, the Gemara is saying that it's not even agav. So that's the kasha. What's the sense that you're saying that a woman could give money to the husband, to the chassan, and she becomes married thereby? How does it work? Okay. The Adam Chashuv by receiving something is as if he's giving something. The benefit that she got, that the husband received the present from him, that's also worth money to her. The benefit that he received the present. So usually the one what's considered a benefit when you get money. Sometimes it's also a benefit when you give money, that the person agrees to accept it. So this has nothing to do with Hogmar. We learned this is considered money because it's a value. A person would pay money for it, that Adam Chashav would receive a present from her. So the Gemara doesn't say it's because what I wanted about every Kanani and Oreb, and it's a combination of both. The Gemara doesn't go so far, and I don't know why. The Gemara says it's not Agav. It's as if he's giving her something. What is he giving her? He's giving her the benefit that he accepted the present from her.
If that's worth more than a pruta.
Right. It has to be worth a pruta. It has to be that the person will pay a pruta that this chashav person should get a present. You want to give a present to Rabbi Yashiv, you can't just knock on the door, give you a present. If a person that would pay a pruta in order to be able to give a present to Rabbi Yashiv, so then it's worth money, and that's the case over here. So if the chassan is such a chashav again, if the chassan is so chashav that is considered a benefit that he received a present from somebody, so then she can be married with that. So it comes in like mamash left field halach over here. Till now we were talking about that the kala doesn't have to be the one to receive, the chassan doesn't have to be the one to give. You could have even both of them together, and Reuven could give Shimon money, and she agrees to be married to the chassan because of that. And even more extreme, that the chassan could be the one who's going to get Reuven gives the chassan money, and that's how he becomes married to this woman. The Gemara doesn't go so far as we wanted the Gemara to go, that even the woman could give the chassan money and she's married because of the combination. That the Gemara doesn't say. The Gemara says if he's Adam Chashuv, then it's going to work because it's considered valuable. It's considered Shavapruta, the fact that he received the money from her.
Because it's like getting prestige.
Yes, whatever you want to say, whatever the reason is going to be, prestige. Not that for prestige. I'm happy that you received the present. It doesn't have to be prestige from other people. It means that the fact that this person was so chashuv and it doesn't take a present from everybody. It's a chashivus that he from somebody. So it's worth money to people. So she got money. What did she get? She got the benefit of this chashuv person receiving her present.
No, it could be if you would take from others, but most once somebody's good to give her benefits also. I was very happy. It's the honor. I was very happy. I had this supposed to give you something.
Yeah.
Just,
Okay.
I see, just treasures.
It's worth money. It's worth money to people. It's worth money, the benefit, whatever you want to call the benefit,
Okay.
whatever benefit
I
you
see.
see.
Okay.
That's the end of the Gemara, more or less.
That's the story of life. A guy goes for a dinner, they get up and they say nice things about him, and then he gives $1 million to the yeshiva for a pledge because of the honor that they give him. They say nice
That's
things.
that's not our Gemara.
That's what
No, it's
just saying honors, just saying nice things.
That's $1 million.
but here that was here
Right, the honor of giving.
giving that person.
Okay, sir.
The honor that he received.
The honor of this.
No,
The other way around, the honor that the guy got was putting on the.
It's worth it.
It will be that they have a yeshiva or a hospital, whatever, and they don't take money from everybody. You have to be chashiv to be able to donate to this yeshiva. They don't take money from everybody. If they accept money from you, so then you're a chashiv guy. That's the chiddush of Adonai.
It's not so close.
what it is if you have some very important person and you throw dinner in there,
Yeah,
then that gives them,
It's worth it. The one who made the dinner,
the one who made the dinner gets
Is
the
on- it's
prestige
like-
of so-and-so was honored.
right? And the prestige doesn't have to be that for the people, but he feels good about it. Like,
Or
oh,
you
sorry.
feel-
Okay, that's the end of that
The
Gemara.
Lamaisa, what Moshe's talking about, like in the Torah, they honor somebody, hoping that he'll end up either giving a big donation or buying tables at the dinner, and that costs money, raise money.
That's not, that's a new
Honoring
issue.
them.
That's a new issue.
That's a new issue.
This whole thing about woman giving money to the chassan was sort of in parentheses, and now we continue with the main halacha about or Ebed Kanani or Ebed Kanani, that the woman doesn't have to be the one to receive, the chassan doesn't have to be the one to give. It's manami mishmei the rava, v'chein le'inyan mamona. Whatever we said that the woman doesn't have to be the one to receive, and the chassan doesn't have to be the one to give, is not only din in Kiddushin, it's also din in money, monetary issues. You sell a field, so how do you usually make that the buyer is one who gives the money to the seller, and that's how the kinyan takes effect? Could it be that somebody else gave the money to the seller, not the buyer? I'll give money to you, and I'll give money to you, the seller, and not that I'm going to buy it. It should be owned by Reuben. I'll pay for the field, and it should belong to Reuben.
Why would the seller care who does?
The question is if the kinyan, that usually the buyer has to give out money. And that's the case of the Kanani case. And you see that the buyer doesn't have to. Or the other way, what would be the other case? That usually the seller is the one who gets the money.
Why are you bringing it for the Mona? It's not. Yeah.
It means monetary issues. Rashi case the case of a field, that's the kinyan kesef happening. Kinyan kesef usually means that the buyer gives money. So it means monetary. That doesn't mean money. It means monetary. So to monetary issues, let's see Rashi over here, if we could. It's about the marriage, right?
They do that.
What? Rashi.
Like you raise up the sudar or something, right? And you,
We're not talking about Khalifa, we're talking about Kinyan Kesef. We're talking about Kinyan Kesef. No, Khalifa is not Kinyan Kesef.
no. I mean, you raise up the sudar.
So,
acquire the field.
That's chalipin. That's not.
Okay.
Rashi says Hanach Shmaitz the Rabbi the Alpini Kiddushin Midin Arav we didn't have a Canaan in Ramona. Rashi explains Machalosa the Vamolo Tena Kesef Leploni. The seller don't give me the money. Give somebody else money, and the field will be brought to you. So that's like the woman is saying, don't give me the money. So that works. And also if the money is not given by the buyer, it's given by somebody else, also works.
Here we're saying the owner of the field, the original owner of the field,
is like
give the money to the third person. It'll be your.
Again, please.
I own a field.
Yes.
And I say, give
and
him
you're
the money,
supposed
and then it'll be your field.
Right. You didn't get the money. That's like the woman. Like, it's like the woman or the Arev. The Arev, the din Arev, and the other way would be the Eviknani shows that one who's gaining, the buyer doesn't have to give. He doesn't have to lose it. He doesn't have to lose. Somebody else could give the money and he'll acquire the field. And the Gemara says, whatever you said about Kiddushin, from Eviknani, from Arev, also you can learn about monetary issues also. We don't have to talk about Kiddushin. He said, that's what I said also. The Kiddushin. And where's that? This halacha applies to monetary issues also. Rashi says the kinyan of a field. It was necessary to say this halacha both by Kiddushin and by Mammon. Maybe it's easier for a woman to, it's only going to say Kiddushin on the side of the Arab. The fact that the woman didn't get the money, or the fact that the buyer didn't get the money, that's what the Gemara is going to talk about Kiddushin both ways. It's not going to talk about the other half, about the fact that the seller doesn't get the money. It's not going to talk about that. It's talking about the fact that, am I saying wrong? Let's talk about the buyer not giving the money, which is the Kanani part. It talks about the other part that the seller or the woman didn't get the money. So it's a chiddush both ways. But if it all works by a woman, you might think because a woman is happy to get married, and she's very desperate to get married. A woman wants to get married. So therefore, even though she didn't get anything, maybe the fact that somebody else got the money that's good enough for her. This famous expression that it's better to live two together than to live alone. Amalu is like an almana. It's better to sit. It means even if it's not a chashuv husband, the fact that she's married, every woman wants to get married. It seems even more than a man that women don't want to be alone. So it's better to be two together than the word do is like double, and then sitting as an almana, sitting alone. So women want to get married, and even if they didn't get the benefit of the shabbat pruta, somebody else got it. Happy with that also. Maybe a person's not going to sell his field, to be marking his field only if he got something. And if you give it to somebody else, maybe it's not enough. That's why it's necessary to say that by a mecher, by a sale, it could work, that if the mocher agrees that somebody else should get the money, it also is enough like already. Yashmina and Mamon, if it would have said that Allah works by Mammon, that the seller didn't get the money, you also learn out from there that the woman doesn't have that money, that by money, it's his own decision. If he wants to get, he doesn't want to get, and if he can be the money also, he doesn't have to get the money. He could have given the field without getting any money. But Kiddushin, she has to get something. You might think that she has to get some benefit. She didn't get any benefit. That both of them are considered the benefit. The fact that she's happy that somebody else got the money, the seller's happy somebody else should get the money. It works like an Ori. The Ori is happy that the borrower should get the money. That obligates him. And that's the end of the Gemara. Sugya, famous Sugya, Ori David Kanani, and it comes out at the end that even if the woman gives the man money, it also could be good, but not because of Avrohom Kanani, I don't know why, but because in Adam Chashuv, that's considered that he gave her something. He gave her the benefit of receiving her gift.
And will be the husband's Adam Chashuv.
Right. Not like
getting.
Right?
That's because she's
right.
getting.
That's if she's getting. Right.
There's a garbage.
Okay, new Gemara. Make it a little smaller. I'll do this smaller. Having the controls a little bit.
We have a professional guy on the right.
Yeah, find where it is. Yeah. Okay. Oh, why doesn't it let me do this?
Could you just like just make the page
Teach what? Huh?
this whole thing, the whole thing it's conscious you can make this smaller, right? From the
Okay, I have to left. Okay, meanwhile. Okay, first wide line. New again. Amar Rava. Iskach, new sugya altogether. Iskachi li lechetzi. That man, the chassan says, become married to half of me. guy. You come married to half of me. It works, Mukudeshes. What does that mean? We'll see in a second what that means. What does it mean to become married to half of me? But the opposite, Chetsiech Mukudeshes, Li Ena Mukudeshes. But if he says, I want to marry half of you, then it doesn't work. What's the difference if it's half of him, half of her? Half of him does work and half of her does not work. Second line, how come he can marry half a woman? Because Isha Merachmanan. Pasuk Torah says, Kikach Ish Isha. Isha is a whole woman. She can't marry half a woman. You have to marry a whole woman. So if that's true, Velo Chatzi Isha. Sachinami, if so, it says in the Pasuk also, Kikach Ish Isha. Ish Merachmanan Velo Chatzi Ish. It's the same way half a woman cannot be married, so half a man also can't marry. So what kind of thing is this, Daddy? He could say that marrying half of me. Amalei, so Rava said to Abaye, what is the comparison? Asam, it's a lo chazia. A woman cannot be married to two men. So therefore, when he said, I'm marrying half of you, he meant to say that your other half is wanted to marry somebody else. That can't be. And that when he said that, he had to have meant, I'm only marrying half of you, because or else there's no such thing as a woman marrying two men. And therefore, it doesn't work, because he only married half of her. Can a man not marry two women? A man can marry two women. He's allowed to with the right, it's a minhag not to. But really, a man can marry two wives. So when he says marry half of me, he doesn't mean marry half of me. He means I want to retain the right to marry another wife. This is what he meant to say. If I want to marry somebody else, I'm going to marry. That's all he meant to say. He doesn't mean to say I'm marrying only half. You have to marry the whole of me. But he means to say, I want to have another one. Don't think that I'm only marrying you, I'm not going to marry anybody else. Sometimes they make a condition, like Lavan said, that don't take any other wives. So a wife might want to be the only wife. So when she gets married, she thinks, I'm not going to marry somebody else. So he says, no, I want to retain the right to marry somebody else. That's all he meant to say. He didn't mean to say, I'm only marrying half of me. You're married to the whole of me. He just meant to say that I'm going to marry somebody else also. But when he says, I'm marrying half of you, he didn't mean to say that I'm allowing the right that you should be able to marry somebody else, because it doesn't work. So the only thing he could have meant is literally, I'm only marrying half of you, and the other half of you is going to be to somebody else. But that doesn't work, because you can't marry half a woman, you have to marry a whole woman. Okay, very good. In the case where it only goes on half, he married only half the woman. So it doesn't work. You can't marry half a woman.
What do the words mean?
Let the Kiddushin spread out on all of her. That means in the case where he only married half of her, that the Gemara explains, when he says I'm marrying half of you, he meant literally I'm marrying half of you, or else he couldn't have meant you could marry somebody else. The only way to do that is by marrying half of her. But and why doesn't it work? Because you can't marry half a woman, it has to be a whole woman. So the Gemara is asking, but if you married half a woman, so let the marriage spread out to the other half also, and she should be completely married. And let's see the mashal, and then the Gemara might be more understood. Milo Tanya, did we not learn a similar case? Homer Raglish Zu Ola. Take out the word tehei if you want. Raglish Zu Ola, Kula Ola. If someone said an animal, I'm not the foot of the animal. Usually, how you makdish an animal, you makdish the whole animal. Here we use makdish the foot of the animal. So what happens? It says here that the whole animal becomes kadosh because it spreads. It means that the foot becomes kadosh, and if the foot of the animal is holy, so the whole animal becomes holy. It doesn't stay by itself. It doesn't stay isolated. So here too, the Gemara is asking that if he's mekadosh half a woman, and he meant only to be mekadosh half a woman, but the halacha should be that it takes effect, and then it automatically becomes spread out onto the rest of the woman. First, the Gemara explained by the man, he didn't mean b'chal to say that I'm only marrying half of me. He just meant to say I want to marry another wife. But by wife, he can't do that. So it must have meant that he's only marrying half of her, and that doesn't work. But the Gemara is asking, it should work, because when he marries half of her, it's just spread out to the whole of her, as you see by a korban. And afilu the man Amar ain't kula ola. There's some machlokas over there. Some say that if you were makdish a foot of an animal, it doesn't become holy on the rest of the animal. But even that man Amar that's only if makdish was not something which is a vital organ, like a foot of a makdish davash and a shamatluya. But if he was makdish a vital organ, he's makdish the heart, the head. So then everybody agrees. Have a kula, everybody agrees so too. So here we said half a woman is a vital organ. A person can't be missing half of their body. So it includes all vital organs in each half. So it should be, and to half of it became a kudeshes, so the whole woman should become a kudeshes. That's the Morris Kasha. That is true that he meant only to be mekadesh half a woman, but just like by korban, that is mitzvah shape, it spreads out. So too, the Kiddushin on the half a woman should spread out to the whole woman. The Gemara answers is different. Midami, what's the comparison? Asam behema, over there's an animal, so it
I was
spreads.
gonna say that the animals, it's kaddish the kedushas mizbeah. It's not the same as marrying a woman, and it's
The Gemara-
Adam
But the Gemara is not going to say that. The Gemara is not going to say that. I hear the Gemara is not going to say
I
that.
was thinking that way.
But the Gemara Asam behema, halcha das acheres. Here, the animal has no das to accept, not accept the animal. But here, the woman, she's not masking that half of her should become. She only was masking one half. If he said that's what she was agreed to. So then you can't say that automatically becomes spread out because the woman didn't agree that the second half of her should become mekudeshes. Although this will be comparable to a case by behemoth that it also doesn't work when there's a das on the second half of the behemoth. What will be the case? Then if there's an animal that belongs to two partners and one of them was makdish his half, hikdish chetzia. So you don't say over there that automatically spreads because there's an owner on the other half and he doesn't agree that his animal should become makdish. So too, the woman who's a bailam on herself, she doesn't agree to become that it should become mukudesh as that second half. Here it says that it doesn't work. When a person is makdish his half of a partnership, it doesn't go on to the second half. Here that goes without saying. It just talks about that what does happen because of Allah, and then he brought out his partner, Vikdisha. So he was makdish two halves. I give you see that goes without saying that it didn't go on to the partner's half. That's all the Gemara wanted. The Gemara wanted the unwritten word. The Gemara wanted the fact that the Brisa or Yochanan says for Pasha that it didn't spread out to the whole animal. The only thing Avrohom talks about is that if he had makdish half and only half was kadosh, then he brought out his partner's half, which is kulin, and he was makdish that half. So then is what you have. Now you have an animal which is fully kadosh because two halves. Still, it's holy because the whole animal is holy because he was makdish both halves. But ain't a kreva, but still can't go on the mizbeach because it wasn't fully kadosh. The Gemara is going to say soon. Why can't it go on the mizbeach if it's all kadosh? Why can't it go on the mizbeach? The Gemara will explain in a second. Also, it says also Tamura that if he made Tamura from this animal to another animal, he said on another animal, Zeh Kazeh, that's a lach of Tamura, that you're not supposed to do it. Lo Yomi, you're not allowed to, but if you did, it takes effect. And if you said on an animal of Fulin, it should be like the Chatas, like the Ola, so it gets the same Allah.
But he wants to say Torah, no? He wants to exchange.
But it doesn't work. You're not allowed to do it. You're not allowed to, and it works. And here it says that if he did onto this animal Tamura, it also takes effect. Also, Tamura doesn't mean you're allowed to. Right?
What he's doing, he's making a kaddish, he's making a call.
No, he wants to make a whole animal to become kadosh. He takes a whole animal and he says the whole animal should be holy like the chatas.
Like the Hatas or
Instead of like
Oh, okay, exchange. Yes, you exchange it. Oh, okay.
So I thought here we're saying that he has a chetzi.
He has a fetz. He has two fetzim. He has an animal that he had once been a partner and he was makdish hand. And then he brought out his partner. Then he was brought out his partner and he was makdish second hand. So it's completely holy now.
It's completely holy. They can't bring it out of his.
But it's taken his back. And also, if he does tamura on another animal, he says that he wants to switch it with another animal. It takes effect. It takes effect.
Takes effect, but he can't bring it on his back.
He can't bring it on the mizbech because if it's Tamura Sakiyose, but the Tamura is the same halacha as the original one. Agav, that was what Yochanan said. Doesn't the Gemara always say Zekazeh? That's the way you say Tamura. How do you do Tamura? By saying Zekazeh. I think so. But you're saying Zekazeh. Zekazeh. Okay, maybe I made a mistake. Okay, that's a side pointing Tamura. Yeah, Tamura that he's switching it. So the Gemara says, well, we want to be finished already. That you see that when he had a beam of Shutvan, he was Makdish half, it only goes on him. And it talks about if you make what I brought out the second half, that's what we're talking about now. It's not a subject really. This is parentheses. He does see Agav that it didn't go on to the second half. Why not? Because there's Das Acheres over there. So, but the Gemara does continue with Allah of Rabbi Yochanan. Which was Havamina? That it should be misplaced.
He was Makadesh
half an animal if there's no other owner, if it's all his animal, if it's all his animal halves. But if there's another shut, then it doesn't. And here the Gemara says by a woman, she has a das acheres. She doesn't want to become mukudeshes kula, so it doesn't work. So, we're finished, right? Then we finished. And the Gemara just finishes off with the animal. Line. Even though it means the point is going to be as nitcha. Why is the animal not able to call them as beach? Because at one point in its life, it was not void for a korban when it was half kadosh before he brought out his partner. So it only was half kadosh, so it was pushed away from being a korban at that point. So it's what?
1 point.
At one point, and even at Chiddush is that it's called pushed away because of Baal Chai. It's a Baal Chai. Baal Chai some hold the Baal Chai ain't a nitcha. It doesn't become nitcha. It doesn't become pushed away, even though it was not roy at that point. Later on, when he brought out the second half, and it was Makdashit, and now it is roy. So now he could bring it for a korban. Say no, Baal Chai nitcha. Baal Chai, even though it's a Baal Chai, it still can get pushed away. Second Chiddush, even though this thing from its original kedusha right away was not roy for a korban. So that's the chiddush. Some hold that only near only if it was once roy, then it got pushed away, then it's called pushed away. Then it was a slap in the face. But if from its original beginning, from its what's it called, from its inception, that it became kadosh, it was not roy for a korban. Maybe that's not called docha. Here you see that it is because when it became kadosh half, it was already not roy, and that's also called docha. Even though the animal never became kedushas aguf because it was never roy from his beach, still you say this is still a docha. All this is parentheses. What the Gemara want from all this? That when somebody has das, so then you don't say that it's a spashet. And therefore, by the woman, when she said, I'm only masking that half of me should become kadosh, half of it should become kadosh, not the second half, because she's a bottom on her own on the second half. And therefore, there's no such thing as chetzi kiddushin, so it's no good. Well, we have that he cannot make kiddushin for half. It has to be a whole man, a whole woman. When he says on himself, I'm a kaddish half of all of me, but I want to have the right to marry another woman. When he says to a woman, I'm kaddish half of you, he meant it literally because he couldn't have meant that you can marry somebody else because you can't. So he meant to say literally, I want to marry only half of you. That doesn't work. It has to be a whole woman. The Gemara continues. Boy Rabba. I have to do Kiddushin for a pruta, a whole woman for a whole pruta. This guy's a lump. I don't know what he wants, but he says, I'm marrying half of you for half a pruta, and the other half of you for another half a pruta. So altogether, it's a whole woman for a whole pruta. Maybe it's good, maybe not. Mahu. What's Allah in this case?
I understand why this is different to the previous case. Because it's Katsi Putza.
So altogether, it's he's Makadish the whole woman.
Yeah,
On the next page,
He's Makadish the whole woman for a pruta.
3 lines long.
That's one side. That's the side that it's good. The Gemara is the side that it's not good because once he said Chatzi, he didn't. The Gemara says two sudden.
He's really saying the second side.
Right. So here the Gemara says, I'm marrying half of you for a Chatzi Pruta, half of you for a Chatzi Pruta. What do you say? Maybe he finished a sentence. He said, I'm marrying half of you for a half a Pruta. So it doesn't work. It doesn't work because first of all it's a Chatzi Pruta. It doesn't work because it's a Chatzi Isha. It doesn't work. Odilma is in the middle of talking. Let him talk. Let the man talk. He didn't finish the sentence yet. He meant half and half. It's a whole. He's middle of counting. So he meant the whole woman.
Counting.
He's continuously counting. So he said half of you for a half and half of you for a half. So I add it all up, and it's whole of you for a whole. So it's good. He didn't marry half a woman. He didn't use half a pruta. If you say it's two separate sentences, so the first thing didn't work, and the second thing didn't work because half a pruta, half a woman doesn't work. Maybe he meant to say the whole sentence has one. That's the two studies.
How do you read it? One or less?
Who? Maybe he is continuously counting. He's in the middle of counting. Let him finish talking. And then he meant to say half a pruta, half a woman, half a pruta, half a woman. He meant altogether, which adds up to be a whole woman for a whole pruta. So it's good.
This less lexic.
What?
As a dyslexic way of talking has to talk in halves. We'll just.
That's a kasha. Even if you say this case is good because he was in the middle of a sentence and he meant to say all of you for a pruta, how about the next case? Chetzech per pruta, the chetzech per pruta. Not a half and half. Half of you for a whole pruta, half of you for a whole pruta. What would you say over here? There's more reason to say that he finished the sentence. In the first sentence that he said half and half a pruta is nothing yet. So he obviously meant to continue the sentence. But here he meant two separate kinyanim. And you can't marry, so you have a pruta over here, but you can't marry half a woman. Pruta. Well, there you take out the word pruta. Paska, since he said a whole pruta, Paska will say finish talking, and you can marry half a woman, even with a pruta. As long as it's the same day, even though he said a chashav sentence, he married it for a pruta, but as long as it's the same day, he's still in the middle of talking, and he could finish the sentence, and he meant all of you for two prutas. That it still goes. Third question: even if you say that within the same day is the middle of talking, how about the next day? Not the same day. Half of you for a pruta today, and half of you for a pruta tomorrow. So then
2 days, not good.
What's not good?
You can't change. I thought every Kiddushin has to be on its day and not on another day.
What's the problem? Because the star is the wrong
Yeah.
date. They'll make it the later date in the star in the Kiddushin. It didn't have a star over here. But here we're not talking about a star. We're talking about he gave the money without a star. No, since the second point was only the next day, so he meant the first thing is by itself. He definitely meant the first thing is by itself. And he did the first half was the first day, and that doesn't work. You can't marry half a woman. Maybe he meant to say, I want it to start happening now, and it should continue till tomorrow. But he meant one big Maisa, and he meant to say, I want to marry the whole woman for two prutas, even though he divided it with a whole day. But the Maisa is one big sentence, one big Kiddushin, that should be the whole woman for the whole pruta. Maybe it's good. It should start from now, and it should finish tomorrow. It shouldn't be finished until tomorrow. So all questions, the Gemara doesn't know. And the question is all what he meant to say. Did he meant to say one big sentence and he meant to say the whole woman for a whole pruta, or he didn't mean that? One more question, which should have been the first question. That's what he said in one sentence. Two halves of you for a pruta. This is the best case. In the time, really good. He meant to buy simultaneously two halves for a pruta. So it's good because he got the whole woman for a pruta. Two halves equals a whole. Odilma allowed that he can marry half women, even if they both halves at the same time. This is really the basic question besides everything else. All the other questions were based on the assumption that it is good. He could marry women on the question, did he mean sense? And if this is good, maybe based on not only meant the first half on its own, that doesn't work. All these cases, all these questions are taken. It's all based on the way that you can't marry half a woman, it has to be a whole woman. Very rubber. Also on the same issue about half. So a man has two sons, and he became a shliach. That only a man can't marry off a son. He's independent. He has to be bar mitzvah, but he could make the father a shliach. The father of two boys, when men and daughters who are tanos, and the father's the jurisdiction, the authority to marry them off, and he wanted to make a joint, like to save on the chasana. So instead of each sending a fruta, he'll marry both daughters to both of the sons for a fruta. What?
Two for a pruta.
Two for a fruta.
Two for one.
Two for one.
Oh, and a pruta is definitely something.
Fruta is chashiv, right?
It's chashiv.
It could have even said,
Does
I'm
each
not.
marriage need a pruta? That's the
What?
question.
What?
The question is, does each marriage need a pruta, or since pruta is chashiv, then it can go on?
I'm just thinking now, maybe the Gemara could have spoken about one man who wants to marry two daughters. Can't bear two with a son. Can't be two daughters. Okay, so I might get two sons.
1 + 1. This is 1 + 1.
And I don't know if you could buy. You need a fruta, but it could be that a fruta is a hush amount of money, and even 2 for 1.
Why am I get one free?
It's 1 + 1.
No, but it'd be different. It can't be that.
Yeah, it's 1 +
That's what I thought, but then I have to correct you. Because if you do, if the second one's for free, it's not good. It has to be.
It has to be that.
It can't be one.
But
You're right, but then I take.
The Mashal Machabusa said would be, if you look at it, how much is a field? How much money do you need to become a field? A fruta, right? About 2 fields. Also, I'm buying 2 fields for a fruta. It doesn't make difference how big it is. So you must look at maybe he could own 2 women for a fruta also. Basar no say no makabel. They take the word no saying so. Since the father is representing both of his daughters, so he got a pruta. If you talk to the girls, so each one only got half a pruta. But if you talk about the father wants to get the money, he got a pruta. Maybe that's good enough, and he could get 2 daughters for the pruta. So you come a moment. There's a chashem when he had pruta. The father got a pruta for his 2 daughters. According to the women who are being married, it wasn't a pruta for each one. So we don't know what the halacha would be if he wants 2 marriages happen with one. He wants to marry the daughter and he also wants to buy the cow. The man has
a worse because she's.
That's not the point of the Gemara.
What is it?
I want to marry your daughter and buy your cow with a pruta.
Basar,
Bitcha uparvascha
your daughter,
and your cow.
the pruta,
Parvascha.
the pruta.
Bitcha uparvascha. Bitcha uparoscha bipruta.
Parascha.
You're a para. I want to marry you and borrow for a puta. That's going that the Kenyan
You
Kesef.
said borrow
Buy.
and buy your power.
There's no Kenyan Kesef on an animal. The most talking about Kenyan Kesef on the animal. Maybe because there's Kesef. Then it wouldn't be. Let's see. No, we already about to say. If you meant to say half and half, we are mean on bitcha b'chatzi.
Couldn't it be
But the right to
that the cow is like the metaltalin, the cow's like the metaltalin, that the sale is.
This all might be. It might be all included in the Gemara's question. The
Okay.
Gemara was, what did he mean to say? Did he mean to say half and half? Bitcha b'chatzi pruta, parascha b'chatzi pruta. Did he mean that? That I'm marrying the daughter for half a pruta? That's really not good. Finished. Nothing to do with. No good.
Right.
And parascha b'chatzi pruta. Even if it would have been a pruta, maybe it's not good. Sholi chatzi pruta is not good. So if he meant half and half, two separate issues, so that is not good. Odilma, he meant to say bitcha b'pruta, parascha b'mashicha. He meant to say that there's another case for the para. I want a pruta for the package deal. How to make the kinyan? The pruta is all for the daughter, and it's a good kiddushin. And then the cow I want to buy with making a kinyan mashicha for it, and maybe that's what he meant to say. We don't know what he meant. If he meant to say half and half, it's surely not good. If he meant to say the bitcha b'pruta, then it is good. Bitcha the karka off b'pruta ma'u, not your daughter and the cow, your daughter and the field, a piece of land. And there is kinyan kesef on there's no kinyan kesef on one at least, but by a karka there's a kinyan kesef. So maybe here it's more mistaber that he meant that it's on the karka. So if he meant bitcha b'chasi pruta v'karka b'chasi pruta, it's no good. If you meant to say that I need a pruta for each one, I'll give a chasi pruta for each one. So it doesn't work. I need one. Or dilma bitcha b'pruta v'karka b'chazaka. There are other ways. Even though there's a way to make a kinyan karka on kesef, there's other ways also. Chazaka.
What's the hazaka?
Chazaka means that you make a field on it. There's a way to make a kinyan chazaka. You work it. You work the field. You make a field. You lock the door. There's ways how to take hold.
Marrying the woman is the hazaka.
No, buying karka is a chazaka. There's a nickname b'shlosha drachim. The kesef shtar b'chazaka. We don't know about it yet. There's a way to make a kinyan chazaka.
In other words, he's going to do something else.
Something else, similar to the parah.
And
That's
for
when
sure,
Mashiach.
then he'd be married.
Because bitcha b'pruta. Yes,
I
it's
see.
the same as before, but before it was a little bit more mustaber
It's related
that he
to-
meant the bitcha b'pruta because the parah doesn't go b'kesef. But over here, that the karka is b'kesef, there's more svara to say that he meant half and half. But maybe even over here, he also meant that the bitcha b'pruta, even though karka could be nicknamed b'kesef, but he meant the whole pruta should go for the woman, and the karka, I'll figure out how to make a chazak on it. Other ways how to do it. All this is taken. Ad kam. Thank you, and thank you again for such a beautiful present. And you should be able to learn the Yeshiva Das. Hold on the Zoom also.
It was choppy at the beginning.
I see that it's happening. Okay.